It is early July, and the summer's second generation of monarchs are looking for a place to lay their eggs. Like all butterfly species, eggs must be laid on a very specific host plant, and as we all know from monarchs, that plant is milkweed. Here we see a female grasping a leaf as she positions her abdomen. And we see she's deposited a small white egg. Hello everybody, my name is Lori, and this is a Minnesota backyard where we look at the small joys and simple wonders found right in our own backyard. So we're going to start here with the monarchs. I am privileged to have milkweed growing in my backyard, which the monarch butterflies find and lay their eggs on. So I gather up the eggs that are laid in my backyard and bring them in and raise those caterpillars inside. The purpose for doing that is to help increase the survival rate of those caterpillars, which in the wild would have a smaller survival rate. It also brings me a lot of joy to see these monarch caterpillars grow and develop into butterflies, and I'd like to share that now with you. It is about 4 days since the butterfly laid her egg. We can now see the dark head of the tiny caterpillar inside, and when we see that, we know the egg is ready to hatch. The caterpillar is emerging from its shell. The caterpillar's first meal is the shell from which it just emerged. The tiny caterpillar eats and grows, and within 3 days, it's ready for its first molt. After the first molt, the caterpillar starts to acquire its characteristic coloration, the white, black, and yellow bands that we all recognize as a monarch caterpillar. The caterpillar will molt 5 times in all. With each cycle, there are several days of voracious eating, followed by a day or two of quiescence as it prepares to molt. During the molt, the caterpillar sheds its outer skin. This is like us trying to step out of a pair of tight yoga pants without using our hands. So to accomplish this, the caterpillar must attach its back legs firmly to a surface to give itself something to pull against. The caterpillar steps out of its old skin and sheds its old face mask. The molt is a vulnerable time for the caterpillar, and it is not always trouble-free. Here is a case where the caterpillar was unable to shed its skin completely. Old skin that is not shed restricts growth, and the caterpillar will eventually die from that. Now, if the caterpillars lose their attachment during their molt, they will have nothing to pull against, and they won't be able to shed, and they will die from that. This poor caterpillar lost its attachment while shedding, and I found it at the bottom of the cage, just exhausted. I have found, however, you can rescue these guys by scotch taping their back legs to a surface. That gives them something to pull against and step out of their skin. All in all, that little guy was pretty lucky and did actually go on to form a chrysalis and a butterfly. Well, molting is hungry work, and in nature, nothing goes to waste. So the caterpillar, after molting, eats his old skin. The cycle of eating, molting, and growing continues over the next 2.5 weeks until the caterpillars are full grown and ready for that final molt into a chrysalis. They prepare with a few days of voracious eating. Finally, the caterpillar is ready. It begins to wander in search of a good place to attach. The caterpillar needs to find a place that gives them safety and shelter while in chrysalis, as well as room to develop their wings once they're hatched. Once a suitable attachment site is found, the work begins. The first step is to create an attachment pedicle. This is made out of silky fibers that come from spinnerets at the top of the caterpillar's head. The caterpillar attaches and stabilizes the pedicle to the underside of a leaf by weaving a broad mat of fibers. Once the pedicle is completed, the caterpillar grips the pedicle with its rear legs. After about 12 hours, the caterpillar's forearms release their grip, and the caterpillar now hangs by its back legs in that classic J curve. 12 to 18 hours later, their final molt begins. The skin splits behind the head. Over the next 5 to 8 minutes, the skin is shed and the green interior is revealed. Notice the shapes that will eventually become the wings of the butterfly. The caterpillar gives a final burst of activity to dislodge its old skin. The caterpillar will continue to contract over the next several minutes until it takes on the classic chrysalis shape. Over the next 11 days, the caterpillar transforms. When the butterfly is about to hatch, the chrysalis turns black and transparent. The new butterfly emerges. This is another vulnerable moment. It is important that the newly hatched monarch hang on tight, so this turn and grab is crucial. For the next several hours, the monarch will remain in a position where its wings hang downward, allowing gravity to help as its wings unfold. Fluid stored in the abdomen is pumped into the wings. Gradually, the wings unfurl and stiffen. If the butterfly loses its grip when it emerges from the chrysalis, the results can be disastrous. If rescued immediately, you can save these butterflies. You need to get them before they lose the fluid in their abdomen and hang them from a spot where they have a good grip and their wings can expand. This butterfly was not so lucky, and you can see that its wings are permanently damaged. These butterflies will never be able to fly, and they will not be able to be released into the wild. You can sometimes nurse these butterflies along by keeping them inside and providing them with sugar water. This butterfly is testing its new wings and will soon be ready to fly away. This butterfly is a male. Do you see the two spots on its rear wings on either side of the abdomen? This butterfly is a female. She has no spots on her wings. It's time to release the butterfly to the wild. So to make your yard friendly for monarchs, you not only need the milkweed that the caterpillars need to feed on, you also need nectar plants that the monarch adults need to feed on as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the summer blooming plants that are ready right about this time that are some of the favorites for monarchs and other butterflies. This is coneflower, and I just love it for its vibrant colors. Now, coneflowers are one of those that have been hybridized a lot to produce a lot of exotic forms and colors. But those exotic forms are not as attractive to the bees and butterflies as the native form. So my advice is to get native coneflower varieties. This is Liatris. It is an absolute butterfly magnet, And it's one of my favorite plants too. It's also a little shorter and so blends in well with both native and traditional landscapes. The pink flower is swamp milkweed. The flowers feed the adults and the leaves feed their caterpillars. Joe Pye is another favorite of butterflies. This is a much taller plant, so plan for that as you include this in your landscape. Thank you for joining me in this discussion about monarch butterflies, and I hope that you join me again.